Hey everyone, welcome back to our channel. In today's video, I'm going to show you how we make our lavender goat milk soap. And not only are we going to show you how to make it, but I'm also going to share with you where we get our oils, our ingredients, our materials, and also the recipe. So stay tuned. All right, so first I want to go over the materials that we need for this batch of soap. So, we need pots, bowls, spoons, and you don't need me to tell you where to get those. You can find those anywhere. Another thing I use is this little infrared thermometer. I bought this on Amazon probably 7 years ago. It still works great. That's been good. I bought this little cheap scale off Amazon too. I like this one. This is the second one I've had of these. The first one lasted about 7 years. I just bought this one recently, and it was still working. The only thing was the little plastic tabs broke after so many uses. But it's a great little scale, and it's like 10 bucks. So not a bad deal. And then a stick blender, immersion blender, whatever you call it. Mine has a high-low speed. It's a Cuisinart. I like this one because the head detaches, so it makes it for easy cleaning. So you'll need that. And then when we get ready to actually make the soap, we will put it in these silicone soap molds that we have. And I bought these years ago from a website called nurturesoap.com. These are the 5-pound molds, and for my bars, I think they're 2.5 inches high, 3.5 inches wide, and 18 inches long. And so for me, I cut my bars, and the way my soap cutter is set up, I can get 16 full-size bars out of there that weigh about 5 ounces. And then that gives me ends that I can cut off, and we can use it for ourselves. We also cut those up for Airbnbs as well. So, and then this little box, I actually just made this the other day, which turned out pretty good. So that is that. And I think that's pretty much all the materials that we need for this. And with these silicone molds, last time I checked, they were about 30 bucks a piece, which for me is well worth it. I've had these for probably 5 or 6 years now. They hold up great. They release the soap easy, and it's just one of those no-brainer purchases for someone who makes soap regularly. If you don't want to spend the money on the silicone molds yet, something that you could do is get like some freezer paper and line anything, a metal pan, a wooden box, whatever you want, and line it with that. And I use the waxy side would be the part that actually makes contact with the soap. And just, fill up a container lined with wax with the freezer paper, and that would work just as well too if you're just beginning. All right, now for the ingredients for this batch of soap that we're going to make today. So we're using 6 oils. We're going to use palm oil, coconut oil, olive oil, castor bean oil, sweet almond, and avocado oil. And let's see here. And then other than that, we'll need food grade sodium hydroxide, and then our goat milk. So the oils that I get, most of them come from J. Edwards International. Their website is bulknaturaloils.com. They, for the most part, on all their oils, have really good prices. And for us, we use certified organic oils, and they have a good source of that as well. And they're reasonably priced. We've tried some different oils from some independent sellers on like Amazon or eBay, and they claim to be organic, but when they came here, there was nothing on there saying organic. It's all like naturally processed or something like that. And so, and since we're marketing a soap made with organic oils, I need to have verification that it is organic. And so at J. Edwards, all the oils are USDA certified organic. So that gives me a little bit of peace of mind. And their customer service has been great. And we order a lot at a time from them. So we'll get, and then we do bulk shipping. So, for us, we may order 1,000 or 2,000 pounds of oils at a time. And it comes on a pallet, and we just unload it with the tractor. And anyway, it's a pretty easy process. So that's where all of our carrier oils come from. Our lye, I get that at essentialdepot.com. I get that at essentialdepot.com. They seem to have the best prices, and you can join their Greener Life Club and, get like an extra 20% off. And I forgot what the fee is to join, but if you're doing it regularly, then obviously it'll pay for itself pretty quick. I normally buy like 64 pounds of lye at a time. I think they can ship me up to like 128 at a time. But their prices are the best, and their quality is good, it's consistent. I've been using them for probably the last 6 or 7 years, and I haven't had any issues with their lye. As far as essential oils, in this recipe we're going to be using obviously lavender essential oil. Most of the time I get my oils from either a website wfmed.com or newdirectionsaromatics.com. I kind of price shop between those two. You know, we go through like 30 or 35 different essential oils that we keep on hand, you know, and so sometimes one has a better price on the other. And so far the quality and the consistency from both companies has been great. I haven't had any issues with either one of them, you know, and so those are my two go-to companies for essential oils. As far as the clay goes, we're going to be using a purple Brazilian clay in this recipe, and that's it's been hard to find. There was brambleberry.com is where I first got my purple Brazilian clay, and that was really good clay. Their shipping's really slow, you know, but their prices are fine. But I did try a few other places, and I have a little bit left from Brambleberry, but for today's recipe, I'm going to have to use some of the other stuff too that I bought online, and I haven't been happy with it. It doesn't really give me that great of a purple color that I was looking for. But if you're patient, brambleberry.com, you can get purple Brazilian clay there. That's been pretty good. As far as all my other clays, those come from that same company. Where I get essential oils from is at New Directions Aromatics. They don't carry purple Brazilian clay for some reason, but they carry all the other clays that I use. So that's where I get the clays from. And then other than all those ingredients, the last obvious ingredient for goat milk soap is our goat milk, which we have our goats here on our farm, and we milk them every day. So that's an easy thing for us to get. So if you don't have goats, I mean, maybe you can find a neighbor or somebody close by that sells goat milk, or you could go to the store and maybe get some powdered goat milk. I've never made soap with powdered goat milk, so I couldn't tell you how that works, if it's the same or not. But anyway, but I'm sure there's probably somebody around you that raises goats that could sell you some goat milk if you don't have your own. All right, so now that we've finished step 2, we've got all our oils. They're melting in this pot right here. We're gonna go ahead and measure out our food grade lye, which is, again, for a bar recipe, it's sodium hydroxide. And so we're gonna measure that out, and then we'll mix it with our frozen goat milk and begin to melt it. And then also, as we mix the lye in with the goat milk, it'll melt pretty quickly. And we'll try to keep our goat milk to be under 90, 95 degrees. And that should be fine. But I love this lye that we get from Essential Depot because it's little micro beads and they pour and measure out really easy. And all right, so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna put just sprinkle a little bit on top, maybe like a fourth of it. I'll just kind of shake the bowl back and forth, and it'll begin to melt pretty quickly. You know, and you can see how it's already beginning to melt some. So I'll shake it for just a minute until I get a little bit of the melted milk down there in the bottom. You know, and so right there, I mean, that's, you know, probably 30 seconds of adding a little bit of lye, and it's already melted it that much. So that's why we start with frozen goat milk, so that it won't scorch it. I have seen some people where they put regular, like refrigerated goat milk, but it's in like an ice bath. You know, I'm sure that would probably work too. It's just another bowl you have to mess up. But of course, I guess I'm taking an extra step by freezing the goat milk. So it'll probably turn out the same either way. You know, and so now I'm just gonna kind of gently stir it in now that I've got, you know, probably half of it's already melted. You know, and I want to be careful not to let this like slosh on my face or anything because it can burn you. You know, and so while I've poured all the lye in, so now I'm just gonna, it'll take a few minutes for it to melt and everything. And while this is going on, all the oils are in there and they're melting, you know, and it's the coconut and the palm oil, the ones that take the longest, just because those are the solid oils in this recipe. You know, and so we'll continue to mix this. I'll continue to come back to this and just kind of stir it every once in a while to make sure that lye gets mixed in really good, and then we will move on to the next step. So while our milk and lye is still melting and our oils are still melting behind me, we're going to go ahead and move on to step 4, which is to measure out our essential oils and our clay. And so again, for this one it's lavender, so I've got a French lavender, and this particular one I bought from that website I told you earlier, WF Med. And then I mix it with a lavender 4042, which this one I bought from New Directions Aromatics. And I realized in the ingredient list that I gave y'all, the essential oils and the clays were not in it. So for a 5 pound, again, I'm making a 4 times recipe. So for the recipe that's in the video, you're going to use about 3 3/4 ounces of essential oils, and then about 1 ounce of clay. Probably more like 3/4 of an ounce of clay, but again, I think I told y'all too, I wasn't really happy with the clay that I got. And if you look at it, so this is the clay that I got that I just don't like. It looks kind of pretty in the bag. Hopefully that shows up on camera, but you can see how it's not near as dark purple as the original stuff. So normally it would be about 3/4 of an ounce, but I'm gonna mix it a little bit more than that to hopefully bring out the color. And the reason that I mix the essential oils with the clay, or bring the clays in with the essential oil, is that it kind of helps, I found, to retain the scent of the essential oils in my soaps, because that's what a lot of people want, is a soap that smells good. So so the clays definitely help with that. All right, so we are ready to move on to step 5, which is going to be to take our milk and lye solution and then pour it into our melted oils. You know, and just before we start, I'll go ahead and check the temperature. You know, and I was shooting for around 90. I've got 94, 95, so that's pretty close. And then in the oils, it's normally between 120 and 125, and it's right there at 125. So the temperatures are good. I've experimented a little bit with this on mixing. I mean, I've had my milk get up as high as 140. It will turn it kind of orange, and that's kind of iffy on that. And then I've had my oils get up to 160 or so. But I try to keep it as low as we can, because when we add those essential oils, we don't want to have it too high of a heat that it's going to kind of take away from the essential oils and make them kind of lose their fragrance in it. So also be careful when you do this too, because I have had it where I poured it too fast and it might have been like a little piece of milk that was frozen. You don't want that. So now what we're going to do is take our stick blender and we're just going to start mixing it, and this will take probably about 3 or 4 minutes to do. All right, and it's starting to thicken up now, so what I'm going to do at this point, because we're not doing anything fancy with swirls or anything like that, we're just making just a good healthy bar of soap. And so I'm going to go ahead and pour all these essential oils with the clay mixed in there, and then we're going to mix it all in, which that was step 6. So if you can see, like, you know, it's not sinking back into the soap, so it's kind of sitting on the surface there. So we're pretty much there. I could go ahead and pour this. I'm going to trace it just a little, or mix it a little bit longer. So can y'all see that where it's sitting on top of the surface right there? So it is ready for step 7, which is to pour it into the molds. So from here, the soap is going to sit in these molds for the next 24 hours. And then tomorrow we'll come back, we'll take them out of the molds, clean the molds, and we'll cut the bars, or cut the loaves into bars, and we'll put them on the curing rack where they're going to sit for about 4 weeks. And then from there we'll put them in boxes, and they'll be ready to package and sell.